Can you feel me on your shoulder? Let me lift you to your feet. These hollow bells a lonely sound. Your heart has missed a beat. Can't tell you where we're going. Let's leave this place behind. Let conflict vanish into smoke. Don't leave me locked outside. These sinister pursuers, black cats that stalk our dreams. Hand in hand we'll find our peace, phoenix from the flames. I am on your shoulder. Take away your fear. When angels cannot break your fall, turn around. I am always near. Angels can deceive us, so let me tell you this. You are my home and my escape, a trip I would not miss. Our path is undecided, our future waits unwrit. The chaos echoes in our ears like 100 minarets. Above us is the sunshine, tomorrow yet to meet. Can you feel me on your shoulder? Let me lift you to your feet. I am on your shoulder. Take away your fear. When angels cannot break your fall, turn around. I am always near. Remember, the end is only the beginning, and I am always near. Remember, the end is only the beginning, and I am always near. I am on your shoulder. Take away your fear. When angels cannot break your fall, turn around. I am always on your shoulder. Take away your fear. When angels cannot break your fall, turn around. I am always near. I am always near. I am always near.
Alright, hello everyone and welcome. Well, I don't say why I'm welcoming you, because this will probably just slot in. No, this is Dragonster a day later than the last time you saw him, or heard him, probably, more likely. So I couldn't get the credits to work, so I found some online, admittedly on YouTube. I'll probably put the person I actually got those from in the description, just out of courtesy and attempted professionalism. Out of a sense of respect for that. I don't like not having credits. I was about to edit and I was like, I really want the proper credits, and I can't find any way of actually fixing this online. So I just gone and found them, because that's the proper thing to do. Propriety. But I do quite like that music, so I might just leave that one running. Which I actually had to get from here because he was talking over the video. So this is really complicated just for me to feel like I'm doing the right thing. It's hard, but it's right. There we go. So post credits ramble, because the one I did was just me trying to faff around and get the credits to work, and occasionally talking about things and getting distracted. Like worse than normal, so that's terrible. So let's kind of talk about it now. So it does mean I'm probably not going to talk that much about the ending, or I might do. I don't know. First of all, let's talk about the narrative. The narrative was a bit weird. In that, I think even in the other games, it's not necessarily talked about the supernatural. Maybe not the right word. but the kind of supernatural element of the plot has been kind of played down a bit. Like in 1, I don't think there was any real supernatural elements to the first one. The second one, most of the puzzles were just kind of trying to deal with people, and actually, was the second one? I can't remember. But I don't think even 2. I don't think even 2 or 3 have had such a focus on the supernatural aspect, the supernatural relic, in kind of dealing with things. There have almost been kind of like side things that pop up at the end more frequently. Whereas here, it seemed to really be soaked throughout the game, the kind of supernatural element of the arc, which did make me feel a bit, especially when things are being slightly twisted to fit the kind of narrative they wanted of an angel of death and Moses committing human sacrifice. It seemed a little odd to go for that. So you'd think that you'd go with something that you could go with historical basis on, like, oh yeah, he was a pharaoh, and okay, well, what's the basis for saying that? At least if you think about the other 3, the other 3, or the past 3, the first one was based on the Knights Templar, and I'm fairly sure there's been conspiracy theories about the Knights Templar since they started. Even if it's just a couple of cynics going, oh, they must be up to something doing all these good works, oh, for no reason, oh, there must be something they're up to. And then they mysteriously become very wealthy. Things like that, and they're still around. So it kind of fits. Or at least there's... Okay, 2, I don't think we know a huge amount about the Mayans. Anyway. So you could have an aspect of Tezcatlipoca hidden in a mirror. To be fair, I don't know much about Mayan kind of myth and legend, so maybe that's wrong. The third one was someone using the ley lines in Glastonbury to become a dragon. I can't remember much of the plot of 3 at all. No, there was stuff in Egypt, wasn't there? Because we had to fly out to Egypt, because that's where... Was it Egypt? I'm just thinking it's Egypt because it was sandy. That's just a terrible thought. The only place with sand in the world is Egypt. And you went with that, and then you picked up you went to Arthur, who was of course buried under Glastonbury because he was buried on an island, and what's more islandy than a hill with a tower on it? That bugs me. That bugs me in general, but it is part of kind of the legend. Many people say Glastonbury, based on the fact that his bones, inverted commas, were found in the Abbey of Glastonbury, and mysteriously that happened as the Normans had conquered, and there was this legend that King Arthur would rise to kind of take back Britain and kick out its invaders, who would be the Normans, who are currently in charge and giving money to Glastonbury Abbey. There's that cynical hat on coming back. So I think this one, they seem to take, what would it be? Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and take one of the major figures of all 3 of those religions, and cast him in this different light that I don't think has ever really been done before. So it did seem a bit weird. So that's the kind of supernatural element. That's kind of the religious side of it. The scientific side is, what is monatomic gold? Like, you'd think you could have... You could play that for comedy, of this really complex scientific explanation that maybe goes on for a couple of lines. And then George is like, what? And then they say it really, really simply, in a really kind of oversimplified manner. Like, you can play things like that for laughs. I still don't understand what that means. Monatomic gold. Is it like... That's not how metal works. Like, metallic bonding is basically all of the atoms are in the block, well, not the shape of the block, but they form the block and the electrons flow freely between them. That, like, that's how metal bonding works. They're all basically individual atoms. Anyway, just connected very closely, because they're solids. Well, not all metals are solid, because you've got mercury. I don't think there's any metallic gases at room temperature. I mean, obviously, if you heat everything hot enough, it'll become a gas. But I think most people would die at that point. So I kind of like the idea of the different aspects, but it just felt really weird. Like, they had this idea of going with this. Oh yeah, let's go for it. That sounds really cool. Oh yeah, we should do this thing called monatomic gold. That would be really cool. And then it's like, but you've not really thought out how things interact and how things work. So I think in that case, the narrative was a bit all over the place in what it was doing. What was it? Is there anything else about the narrative I want to complain about? I don't think of anything. I'll come back to that if there is. Anna Maria. Right, there we go. So you got this thing, George romances Anna Maria. What's going on with him and Nico? Because basically every single game, like apart from the first one, obviously, they've broken up between the games, and then they kind of get back together, and then they break up again, and then they get back together. I mean, I think, admittedly, for this game, I'm trying to think about how that affected the plot, and I can't think of how it affected the plot in 2 or 3. In this one, it does kind of make sense in that kind of relationship with Anna Maria is part of the reason why George is going through everything, especially when he finds Nico. We've got to find Anna Maria. She's gone missing. She's been kidnapped. And then suddenly you've got Nico basically in the Anna Maria role again, doing all the stuff she was doing. So I'm not sure how good that is. The mechanisms of the game, the puzzles. There are a couple of times where I had it where, because I know this was from the last session, I'm fairly sure I mentioned it, where you would put normally a piece of paper that you're not using, on something and then burn it to create the fire. Whereas in a lot of other games, you would burn it in your inventory and use the fire. Now I understand that from a logical perspective, you'd put the thing on, probably burn it, and put it where it's supposed to be. But I think it would be good just to have that kind of feedback of, I need something to burn here. Or you try and burn something in your pocket, not just, that won't work, but have him say, I'm not going to light that until I know where I'm putting it, because I don't want to burn a hole in my pocket or whatever. Or I don't want to burn my trousers or wherever he's keeping his stuff. So I think there are a few times where there are puzzles like that where you need to just interact with things. And actually, I think there were some times where he did say, I need this kind of thing. But there are an awful lot of times where he didn't go into that kind of, oh, I need this, I need that. It's just, I have to guess and fiddle things and hope. The hacking minigame in some situations was quite fun, because it was like, okay, I can see how this is meant to trace around, I can see how this is meant to work. And then sometimes it's just, I think there are some where it took me several videos. Each video is roughly 18 minutes, 18, 19, 20 minutes, about that. So if it's taking me several videos to work out, that's over half an hour on one little light puzzle, which probably tells you it's a little bit overcomplicated. It would probably also be good if there was some feedback on that. I'm not sure I like the little boxes that stop you from that kick you back out, because all it does is basically mean you have to reset everything again. And I kind of understand that as a kind of, here is a puzzle to make things harder, but it should you could just have a block there, an ordinary block that doesn't kill you. It just stops you progressing, because otherwise your puzzle which needs to be thought out, suddenly has a speed element of, oh, I need to move that back off because it suddenly kicked something up, or I need to bring something in to bounce that on somewhere else, and it doesn't help. And so it's this kind of faux timed element. And speaking of timed elements, there are so many little puzzles where I'm not even thinking of that one yet. There were a few little puzzles like the door last time with Mark, where Mark's holding it and you need to do something, and if you don't do something fast enough, he drops it. And then you have to just ask him to do it again. It's just pointless busy work. It just adds like a few seconds onto your time of, oh, I've now got a cutscene of him stopping it. I now have to go and talk to him to say him to take it off and go back. And it doesn't add anything to my enjoyment. It just makes me feel just like I'm being pushed around for no reason. There were other times where here is a timed aspect of the puzzle, and then you've got to go back and reset things and go, like in Topkapi Castle, you've got the guard. Why can't you just, the first time you interact with it, like maybe you just press a button, it doesn't do anything, you need to do something else. That's where the paperclip comes in. Then the guard goes over and he just stays there. And he doesn't keep going backwards and forwards. And once he's gone, you can then start doing things. Because we got caught an awful lot of times then. And I think that's the issue. There's a lot of kind of timed elements. Yeah, let's talk about it now. The bomb! The bomb! Alright, you want to say, ooh, 10 minutes because it's... I'm just ranting. This is a credits rant. It's not a credits ramble, it's just ranting. I should try and talk about good things I liked. But yeah, the explosion. Yeah, after 10 minutes, boom, it goes off. You die. And you reset at the very beginning, so you then have to do the phone puzzle again. And you got to do this, then you got to read the thing and get the gloves to then know which... whatever. I understand you want to make it more tense and say, ooh, 10 minutes. But this is a puzzle game. Like, I've got to go through all these puzzles. I've got to work out what I'm doing. And that added on to the time it took me to do the phone puzzle. Because every time it blew up, I had to restart. We had to restart. I had to go back into the phone. And I had to try and remember and reset where I was so I could work onwards. Which just doesn't help. It just makes the puzzle more frustrating. That you have to keep going back and back and back. I did like something I liked about this game. I'm being a bit harsh. I'm picking out the things I really didn't like. I liked the fact we did get Nico back. Part of me kind of likes the fact that Mevlut turned up at the end as this kind of, ooh, yeah, I was always against you. Having said that, though, I would have liked it if that had been hinted. There's no point in having a twist if you can't look back and go, oh, suddenly everything makes sense. Is my view. I did like those little stealthy sections with the monks when you're trying to get through that one garden. Having said that, I think having 2 was good. I think any more than that, and you have it just becoming, you then come to a position where they try and make it more and more difficult, and you just get a really frustrating one that can't be done by me. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these games where they have puzzles like that. Like the phone puzzles, is they want to make things more difficult, so they have to kind of ramp up the difficulty on the phone puzzles, so they end up making them too hard in some situations. I'm trying to think. Okay, let's think about it. I liked Mark as character. I quite liked him. Not sure I saw the point of Archie. He popped up like a couple of times, and I'm not really sure why. Whereas Mark seems to kind of make sense as to kind of where he fits in the story and in what's happening. I did like how they set up, although this is another twist they didn't really hint at, which might be quite nice. Although I might have to rewatch the... I'd almost like to have a I'd like it if I might actually see if this is the case, whether it was Father Gregor who kind of got us out from the Cardinal. I'd like to re-listen to his conversation now and see if anything he said then makes you go, oh, he was telling us all along which side he was on. Because that's normally very clever. But I'm not sure this game did that. But I would quite I did like that you've got the Cardinal. He goes off to the Mafia. Oh, he must be the bad guy. He sent the Mafia after Anna Maria and after me, and he's hanging out in the Black Cat Club. He must be working with the Mafia. They're the bad guys. And then I did like that twist at the end of, actually, no, he's trying to stop the real bad guys, who we've accidentally been helping. So I do like the little I do like little bits of this, but I liked this, but there was a large minority of things that kind of annoyed me and were not as good as they could have been. I just had a mental flashback to everyone walking into things and breaking the game. Thanks, Brain. Not the best structured game, as we can tell by the fact that I had to go and find the credits somewhere else, because they wouldn't work in the game. Well done. So, hopefully it's better in Serpent's Curse, although I might not be doing that next. Don't know what I'm doing yet. I've got a while to think about it, because I've just sat down and done a blitz through this. But, yes, we'll see what happens next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for watching.